I'm using some foliage from the garden and a potato to make a Christmas decoration today on Pots and Trowels, and that's brought to you with the support of Cobra Garden and Darlac. Hello and welcome to Pots and Trowels. Well, here we are now, just a few days until Christmas, and very often people traditionally bring in some evergreen foliage from the garden to decorate in the house or to use it on a door, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to make an outdoor decoration that we can hang on our front door, and I'm going to use some evergreen foliage. I've been around the garden, just clipped a few bits off. Evergreen foliage is great because it stays fresh for a long time. So conifers are an obvious choice. I've got conifers here of different types, junipers and Chamaesyparis Paris and yew. This is some nice, good, strong growth off a yew plant here, which stays stiff when you put it into an arrangement. I've got bay here. Bay again, lovely dark green, glossy foliage, and very often we get that lovely scent of the leaf when it's rubbed as well, so we can use that. Pittosporum, which has got a variegated leaf. It's nice to have a contrast in colour, which just highlights everything. And again, another variegated one that we've got in the garden here is this Eleagnus. This is Pungens maculata with these really bright leaves there. Some Choisea tenata, sometimes known as the Mexican orange blossom, again, got quite a fragrant leaf on that. And then just across here, I've got some holly. You've got to have holly, haven't you, in a Christmas decoration? So I've got some nice variegated and some green holly there. I've got some coloured stems, which I think we can use. This is a dogwood that I've cut from the garden, and some ivy there, holly and ivy, a few sprigs of ivy. So that's the foliage that I'm going to use. And you may have noticed on the table, I've also got a couple of potatoes. It's not that I'm peeling these for lunch. This is what I'm going to use to arrange the display in. Now, often we'd use a wire ring with moss around it or straw, and we'd wire the foliage to it. But this is an idea. It's not a new idea, but I must admit I haven't seen it for a long time. And recently I saw this being used on the National Garden Scheme Facebook page, and they have made a lovely hanging arrangement for a door using the potato. And it basically does away with the need for using floral foam, which we're all trying to cut down of because it's a single-use plastic. So we're going to use this. Now, I have used it before, but not to do an arrangement like this. Many years ago, we used to use smaller potatoes. We'd cut the bottom off so it's flat, stand it in a saucer, and you can make holes in it and put some foliage and flowers in it to make a little tiny table decoration. So I'm going to try something a little bit different today. How it will work, I don't know. So we've got the potato. We've also got a pair of secateurs there. I've got my trusty secateurs nice and sharp. We need a skewer to make a hole through the potato, and we're going to need some wire. So this is just some florist wire, or any thin garden wire could be used. So first thing is, this potato has got a flattish side. This is going to be against the door. So I'm going to put the flat side to the door, but we need a means of hanging it. So using the skewer, I'm going to push the skewer through about a third of the way down, like that, all the way through, and then I can get the wire and I can push that. If I can pick it up, my fingers are so cold in the greenhouse. Push the wire through the hole, and then I can loop that round like that, and then when it's all finished, that gives me something to hang it on the door. So it's as simple as that. So what do we need to do to start this? Right, we need some foliage, and we're going to make this a circular one. You can do any shape, any size that you want to. So I'm going to start with some yew, and I'm going to pop probably 4 or 5 pieces. And we need to make sure whatever we use, we strip the foliage off the base. So I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces just to give you an idea of what we're doing. So just get my bucket here to strip them off. When you make the cut on the base of the stems, make an angled cut, so it gives it a bit of a point. Just makes it easier to push them into the potato. We will make a hole with the skewer, and if this isn't big enough, then you can get a little screwdriver or something like that. So I'm just going to get 3 or 4 just to start us off, and then we can take it from there. Okay, now So first one is we're going to make a hole in the top. So I'm just going to get my skewer, push it in about an inch or so, make a little hole. And then because we've got the pointy bit on there, as you can see, I'm just going to push that in so it's nice and firm into the potato. I'm going to put one in the bottom, just make a little hole, give it a wiggle if you need to, and we can push a piece into the base. And then we're going to do a sideways one as well. So make those a little bit smaller. There's also moisture, of course, in the potato, so that will help to keep the foliage fresh. So we're starting off with 4 in a star shape. That one into there. Okay, so I've got there. Okay, so quite simple. Almost finished really, isn't it, like that? So then I'm going to use some other bits of conifer. I've got some nice sort of spiky conifer here. So again, strip off, you can either do it with your secateurs, or if it's not too spiky, just measure it roughly into place, cut it. I don't think these will push in, they won't. We have got to make a hole. So just make a hole there, bit of a wiggle. And then we can put that there. So what I'm going to do is just carry on round and get a layer of conifer at the back, and then I'll show you how we can fill in the centre. Right, okay, so what I've done now, if I just hold that up for you, you can see I've basically put a ring of the conifer foliage all the way around it. And what I might also do is get some of the red stems and put 1 or 2 of those at the back as well, just so they're shining through the foliage, just to give a different texture. But what I want to do next is then we've obviously got to fill this in now gradually. So I've cut some shorter pieces like this, which will come about halfway round. So again, we can just keep making holes like that and just pushing them in. And I'm using a mixture of all different sorts of things here. So I'm going to use some variegated and some golden and green, not symmetrical, just sort of in a random pattern, so that each layer covers the space of the previous layer. So it's just a case of working your way around and angling them in like that. Hole with a skewer. Slopey cut on there, and then just push it in about 1 centimetre or 2 like that. So I'm just going to carry on with this and do one more layer around it. So there you go, it's starting now to just come together. I'm gradually filling it in around the edge, overlapping the layers, and I've just got the centre to finish off now. So we're just going to put that down there like that. And again, using the same foliage, but just short little pieces now. I'm just going to push some pieces in to finish it. So it is basically now just like flower arranging as you would do into some floral foam. So it's just getting short pieces, making sure they're cut to a point, a little hole in there. If it's not right, just take it out and put another piece in. It's not going to cause any harm at all. And just filling in a piece of bay there, I think would work quite nicely. And then you can keep it very natural, of course, just leave it as it is. But if you wanted to, what we can do is to put in some little pieces of pine cones or cinnamon sticks that you can buy. And we might just stick 1 or 2 of them in just to give it that extra little finish. A bit of holly maybe. Well, as you can see, I've filled it in now with more little bits of foliage, and you could leave it at that. It's perfectly fine, keep it very natural, but we've decided to put in a few cinnamon sticks and fir cones and walnuts, and I've got some orange slices here that I've just put on a piece of wire. So I'm just going to push that last one in there just so it nestles amongst the foliage, and one final cinnamon stick which I can push in to the potato, and that is it. Very simple. Just some evergreen foliage and conifer out of the garden and a potato just to prove it. There's the potato there with the wiring, so that is it. We can hang that on the door now and enjoy that all the time over the festive period. So on behalf of the Pots and Trowels team, that's Jill, Sean and myself, we'd like to wish you all a very, very happy Christmas. Well, thank you for watching Pots and Trowels, and remember you can watch all the videos that we've done on Facebook and on YouTube. All you need to do is subscribe for free. We'll be back again next week when we're doing more practical jobs in the garden, so we'll see you then. Bye.